What is Pup, everybody? I'm No Lux Given, and today we're going to be taking a look at Pup the Magic Dragon. And this is something that I've been trying to do now that the game has been updated. We've got a brand new UI. Take a look at some of those classic free heroes, and Pup is actually one of my favorite free heroes. There was a period last year where I had one of, if not the highest win rates on Pup, and I think a lot of players underestimate this hero a little bit. It can be pretty strong, especially in the early game. So I'm gonna go over some tips and tricks and things that I find fun on Pup, and we're gonna start this game off by locking onto a forbidden fruit and picking up Happy Little Tree. Happy Little Tree is generally not a super powerful character, but it can be stronger if you can find a way to give it some attack. And Pup, of course, comes along with that +2, +1, or even +4, +2 if you can double support the Happy Little Tree, which can definitely make it a formidable character. We're just going to wind up picking up Sherwood Sure Shot and Humpty Dumpty in our shop on turn 2. Nothing super crazy, not rolling for supports or going all out or anything like that. We're just going to pick up what is offered to us. Humpty Dumpty is a pretty strong character to get things started, and that is the strength of Pup. It sounds a little bit weird to say that the strength of Pup is that he's strong, but it's a strong hero in the early game, I think, is the important part, and that allows you to try to build a lead and grab leads elsewhere, with the fact that there's just a lot of strength in giving a free +4, +2 for every support character that you pick up. Now, this shop's a little bit weird. I would love to pick up Cinderella because I love tier 2 treasures on Pup, though Humpty Dumpty also a pretty good character on Pup. Here, it's just going to be helping us win combats, but if you can get that Easter egg treasure and then start giving Easter egg triggers to those backline characters like Sporko and Lady of the Lake, that can really allow you to snowball and take over a lobby. So that's a really powerful thing to be able to take advantage of. But I guess here we don't have any support characters just yet. We're just playing strong Storybook Brawl. But I would say generally what you'd like to do with the strength of Pup, I said try to take that strength and use it to get advantages elsewhere. That's going to be things like Reckless Wager or Wish Upon a Star, or potentially Prized Pig. Prized Pig a little bit awkward because it's a backline character and you don't really want to be taking up too many of your background or backline slots with non-supporting characters, but whatever, you gotta make work here. We wind up losing both of our eggs on this combat, which is a little bit awkward, but we do win the Reckless Wager, so I guess it all kind of worked out in the end. And here we see Queen of Hearts, and that's kind of what I was just talking about. Those are more backline characters, which just isn't generally something that you're looking for on Pup. So I'm gonna skip on picking up those Queen of Hearts and roll into this shop, which gives us the opportunity to pick up a Turkish Delight. Now, I really like Hermes Sandals on Pup as well. I will often find myself playing Slay comps because those are support-based comps, and for that, I do really like Hermes Sandals. I also kind of like the XP here, and the Hermes boots, or Hermes Sandals rather, will be good just for the time being, allowing our stag to attack and deliver some nice stats to Sherwood Sure Shot. So this is still a pretty strong start to the game. I wind up picking up the Turkish Delight. I think that I should have locked on to the Lonely Prince there, the Frog Prince, but we do actually wind up finding our first support here on what is technically 3.2. So it's not actually that late in the game, and we get to use it to support a Happy Little Tree as well as a Nutcracker. I would say, despite calling this like classic Pup, we are going to do like Pup things throughout the course of the entire game, though it's a little bit of a weird one. Now, I will say that there's a few different things going on with Pup, but generally, being on level 4 is really strong. So using XP to skip ahead to level 4 where you can find the Sporkos, the Lady of the Lakes, the River Wish Mermaids, some of those really, really powerful supports that are even powerful enough that they can make it into end game comps are worth buying that XP for and just getting to that point a little bit faster, so that way you can take advantage of those with Pup. And here we do see another support character. We've got a Mad Mim in the shop. Wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but it does actually work well with Happy Little Tree, and it might be something that I want to pick up here. We get to pick up a Feasting Dragon, and this is technically 4.0, so it's definitely worth going for a Feasting Dragon here, especially when we can kick it up to 11. And then we find a Wish Upon a Star, and this definitely complicates things, but I think it's something that we want to go for. Like I said, the strength of Pup is just being strong, and Wish Upon a Star is one of the best ways that you can capitalize on being strong in the early game. Now, we will have a really, really great Wish Upon a Star on our hands if we can activate the Nutcracker right now. That'll give us more stats on the Nutcracker, and it will also give us a tier 4 treasure. So this could be an absolutely huge pickup if we are able to crack the Nutcracker right now, and it looks like we are able to do so. So this is all going pretty well here to start this game off. Now we get to Wish Upon a Star. We also grab a tier 4 treasure, and none of these actually really get to impact our board at all. I actually considered the Reduplicator. The Reduplicator plus Time Flies doesn't actually do anything, since Time Flies summons off your first dead character, then you won't actually have the space to summon 2 Time Flies unless you like play a unit down, at which point what you doing. But still gonna pick up the Wish Upon a Star and the Time Flies here, and then I'll just go for the Krampus's Sleigh after that. Time Flies still a good character though, because we can make double use out of one of our supports, and summons are generally like okay on Pup. Just because if you're supporting summons anyways, then that's going to make you get even more value from your Pup hero power. So we are looking pretty good, and it's actually a great thing here as well that my opponent doesn't have any treasures. I was actually really excited to see that, because kind of don't want to use this Krampus's Sleigh this early in the game and kind of like waste it. So I'd rather hang on to that, and that is wonderful. We get to win the combat. Now we're at 5.2, 3 XP up on the rest of the lobby, and we even get to pick up some better supports here. We see a Sporko, finally a tier 4 support, though it is really only 4.2 right now at this point in the game, so still pretty on pace to be able to pick up that Sporko here. And I do just consider going for Reckless Wager going into 6.0. Still definitely feels like the early game, and taking advantage of a Reckless Wager does seem good. I'm trying to figure out how we can play the best board from here, and I think that it probably involves playing all of our support characters, but then adding another Sporko to the mix does seem pretty good, and I'm just going to keep it at this. Now, I do think that we could potentially make our board a little bit better by trying to get this Princess Peep into here, but it's not worth it. If we were playing for XP right now, it would potentially be worth it, but we're just playing to win 3 gold off Reckless Wager, so no reason to go crazy for it. And we actually do wind up losing the combat to this Crystal Ball and Beauty, but that's okay. We're on 6.0 now. We've got 29 health, and we are still considerably ahead of the rest of the lobby. We've got the boots, and we've got the Krampus's Sleigh. We lost the last combat. I potentially would have stolen the Crystal Ball there, but I'm glad that we didn't have to. Now we get to save the Krampus's Sleigh for some bigger stuff yet. And yeah, we still have these boots. I would love to pick up a tier 6 character. I think about picking up the Princess P again, but I'm glad that I didn't, because now instead I can pick up Princess Peepa, or Empress Peep, as her name is, so that way you don't get confused. So adding that to the board is obviously really, really good with Pup. Now we just get to keep making use of that Pup hero power throughout the rest of the game, and just have a really, really large Empress there. This is a natural Empress, no buffs, or I guess 1 buff from the Feasting Dragon, right? but then otherwise no buffs, and that goes up to a 22-18, and that should be enough, though my opponent does hit it with a shrivel, so that's going to deny us a little bit of stats there, and makes this combat really close, but we actually still get the win. Kind of an incredible combat. I think we got a little bit lucky there too, and now we get to steal a Sky Castle and immediately upgrade Empress P with an Evil Twin and grab a tier 6 treasure. So pretty sweet stuff. Our tier 6 options are Embiggening Stone, Phoenix Feather, and Mimic Chest. And I think that the pickup here, in hindsight, could have been Embiggening Stone. The game still has a few turns left to go, and we don't really have too much of a comp that I think we could have gotten enough use from the Embiggening Stone. Mimic Chest wouldn't really do anything, and ultimately I decided to go for the Phoenix Feather, which I think is still a great pickup. It's still really good on this board, but maybe I could have gone for the Embiggening Stone here instead. Roll past a pair of trees, a little bit awkward, and then I'm going to lock onto Lancelot, which is a really important character on Pup because tier 5 treasures are just so good on Pup. Looking for Evil Eye or Horn of Olympus, those can grab you a lot of stats, and here we get to see that Phoenix Feather come into play. Empress P also obviously giving us a lot of stats here, and that's going to be more than enough to win the combat, though my opponent's still going to have a ton of health. We hit them for 9, down to 17, and you can see we still got a few more turns to go with this one, but now we get to pick up a Lancelot, and if we take a look, double supporting it puts it up to 24 attack. So Lancelot is almost ready to go here, and that's why it was worth locking onto. It's just a tier 5 treasure for so little investment. I'm not really trying to play a Slay comp, I should mention, as I roll past that Jormungand. We're still missing too many pieces for that, so I'm just trying to save my cash to pick up as many Empress Ps as I can, and that's why I go for the Blaze of Glory here. Also could have picked up the Boomhilda, though I think the Sporkos are fine enough. I don't really think we need to upgrade those into Boomhildas, so just using all of my cash to roll for Empress Ps, especially while we have the Sky Castle, I think is the way to go here, and we can activate Lancelot using just Blaze of Glory and save a few coin on that, so that is nice as well. You can see Lancelot isn't even slaying. It's a little bit far behind to try to go into a Slay comp, but Empress P is still a ton of stats, especially when combined with that Phoenix Feather there. That's going to allow us to deal some nice damage to Beauty, though that Beauty was a little bit scary. They have a Crystal Ball and a Black Prism, which is a really powerful combination. We looked at that one yesterday, though we get to add a Horn of Olympus to our board. I do have to figure out what we are going to toss here, whether we're tossing the Sky Castle or the Hermes Sandals, and for a while I think about just tossing the Hermes Sandals, but ultimately do toss the Sky Castle. We'd have to find 2 more Empress Ps to really make this Sky Castle relevant. There's a lot of things that could potentially make these boots relevant, like a Doom Breath. And Doom Breath paired with both of these Sporkos is going to give it some nice little stats, and then those Hermes Sandals allow it to get in there early and hopefully kill some stuff and allow us to find a win. I'll wind up feeding Nutcracker to the Kraken, and then I just don't have time after that animation plays out to be able to do anything else for the turn, and awkwardly wind up wasting about 6 gold there. So a little bit unfortunate. We get to still have this combat get carried by a large Empress P though, and don't quite take out the Sharon, but still do some nice damage. And now just looking for more Empress P still. I will take another Echo Wood. Not really going to move into the Baba Yaga of it all, and this is kind of a weird comp for us as well because our Empress P is evil, so we can't really make that much use of Good Boy, which would otherwise typically be seen in comps like this. So a little bit awkward here, but we do get to triple up on the Echo Wood, so that gives us the chance to pick up a tier 6 treasure, which could be nice, though maybe it isn't. I kind of like all of the treasures that we have. Now that we're running the Doom Breath, I kind of like these boots. I'm not tossing the horn, and Phoenix Feather is obviously also a really powerful endgame treasure. So I just wind up floating this treasure for the turn, and I'll make another decision once I see what happens after this combat. My opponent hits us with a Pigomorph, but we're still going to have a ton of stats after Empress P dies, and we grab a massive Echo Wood. That's going to be enough to win the combat and take out this big bad wolf before they get to Holy Grail. And now we're in the finals, and we know who we're playing up against. We're playing up against this beauty, and we need to figure out what is going to give us the best chance to take out this beauty right here and right now. And I do think about going for Cupid. I also think about picking up the Wand of Weirding and potentially looking for some scams. We could also scam with Ninth Book of Merlin. We've got 3 mages in the back line, and that's something to consider as well. I'm not exactly sure what I should be going for. I do notice I've got enough health to lose a combat, and so for that I just decide I'm gonna roll a little bit and just skip on the treasure and play what we already got with the Doom Breath. And then when another Cupid comes around, I do decide at this point, maybe I do just want to take this Cupid. I'll throw that in slot number 2, finish things off with a Fireball. We'll see if this is enough. My opponent, quite a large board with Black Prism. They also cracked their locked chest into a Merlin's hat. So they've got a bunch of stuff here, but my backline is just a little bit, just a real little bit too big for them. And it's a really close combat, but with 4 health, we wind up taking the win there. You can see we were 65% to win this one. Still a really close one. My Cupid didn't even get to do anything, so the combat seemed a little bit closer than it had to maybe. Doom Breath and Cupid maybe could have gotten switched. I think that I was maybe even potentially best off here just playing 2 frontline Cupids if I was able to pick up both of those this turn. And maybe at that point you drop the boots, though boots still good getting in with those Cupid attacks early on. But either way, we got the win. So we just had such a early lead and such a health lead as well, and my opponents didn't. So if my opponents made one mistake or just had one combat go not in their favor, they were in a little bit of a tougher spot there. That's going to be it for me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this look at Classic Pup. I think that this was, indicative of how some Pup games can go, but there's a lot of different ways to play Pup. I talked about tier 2 treasures and level 4 characters, which we didn't really get to see too much use out of. Obviously, we used a lot of these boots in the game. We picked that up pretty early and kept it for the whole game. But there's also things like Bounty Board and Dragon's Nest that can be really strong on level 2, which obviously make you want to stay and take advantage of those level 4 characters even longer. But for today, that's going to be it for me. So thank you guys very much for watching. I'm No Lux Given. Peace.